Hello, love. Show us your belly.
22 weeks.
22 weeks. That is a 22-week belly right there. So cute. How you feeling?
Amazing.
Yeah?
So good.
What's been happening the last week or so?
Well, we did she births in Byron, which was awesome.
Yep.
We'll tell you all about that.
Yep.
Oh, awesome.
We're back, and we are back with a bump.
We've got a bump.
All right, so it's been how many weeks since we last spoke?
3.
3 weeks.
So week 19, 20, and 21. So we want to recap those 3 weeks with you. There's been a lot that's happened. Overall, I feel incredible, which is awesome. And in week 19, we had, I've got my notes here so I don't forget everything I want to talk to you guys about. We had our scan, a 20-week scan. So we have spoken about this in other videos. We decided throughout our whole pregnancy that we're only going to do 2 ultrasounds. I wanted none. However, our midwives would only work with us if we had these 2 scans.
We were always getting the first one.
Yeah.
Always.
And this second one, which is around that 20-week mark, which takes about an hour, and they do a full scan of everything and they measure everything. I didn't want to get, that was my own personal preference, but our midwives said that they wanted us to get it, otherwise they wouldn't work with us, because they need to know how the heart rate is, how the heart is going and where the placenta is. So that is really important.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
it's a safety
thing for them.
Yeah, because we are birthing at home in water, and they want to make sure that it's all good.
And you need to make sure the placenta is not low so that you can have a normal vaginal birth. So we had the scan, which was really cool. I just want to talk to you a little bit about this scan situation, because
pretty gnarly. We had my mum and Melissa's mum there, which is actually really nice.
It was nice to have them in the room. They really wanted to be there.
But
the sonographer was a very grumpy, unhappy human, and she was quite aggressive, and the baby was not in the ideal position where she could get the photos of the heart. So she was literally like pushing on my belly, like almost belting my belly, and it was
like this, like, and she was
pushing and rubbing. And then afterwards, Nick's mum said, "Melissa, are you okay?" Like when we were out of the room, like that looked like it really hurt, and it actually did. And I was quite worked up about it afterwards. It wasn't a pleasant experience for me. I did call up and give feedback the week after, which, you know, was really important for me to do. So I just want you guys to go in and don't be afraid to speak up. This is your ultrasound. You're paying for it. And don't be afraid to say, "Hey, that actually hurts," or "Would you mind going a little bit softer?" I also opted out for the full ultrasound, which usually takes an hour, where they measure everything. I just went in there asking for where the placenta is and how the heart is. So it should have taken around 10 minutes. It took around half an hour, which I didn't want to take half an hour. That's mainly because she was belting my stomach.
Well, I mean, the baby was not in the ideal position for the heart reading, but it's funny that even the language that was used, like, "Oh, the baby's in the wrong position." It's like, the baby's not in the wrong position. The baby doesn't care that you want to get its heart rate right now. It's just chilling, doing its thing. So she was trying to aggressively move the baby and get it to spin. So it was just it was quite unpleasant, but look, we got what we needed.
The midwives are happy.
And there's all 5 fingers, 5 toes, 2 legs, 2 arms. Everything's measuring great. I mean, all the other stuff they do, the morphology they do, you know, if you do the full scan, we didn't get, but we know everything's fine. It's all good.
Yeah, and you know,
our parents didn't have these.
No, and I really trust my body. I trust my body and I trust nature so much, and that's what felt good for me and us. So that's what we did. We have monthly meetings with our midwives. And in those meetings, they do your blood pressure and they do the Doppler to check the heart rate. And I've opted out from that Doppler check-in, and you can use a fetoscope.
It's like a trumpet.
And it looks like a little wooden trumpet that they used back in the day that they put on your belly and they hear it. The only difference is that you can't hear it. So with the Doppler, you can hear the noise.
I can hear it.
He gets to hear it. But for me, I don't need to hear it. Like, I don't need to hear. I feel the baby, and it's more fun for you to hear.
It is, and even with that fetoscope, is it?
I think it's called a fetoscope.
It's not easy to hear. Like you're like, I think I heard it. So
but the midwife, she can hear it, and maybe because she's so skilled and knows what she's listening for, she can hear it straight away. Like, she put it on, she's like, oh, yep, straight away. So these are your options. You have so many options. Do what feels right and true and good for you and your partner. That is what this is all about. Don't just do what the doctor or the obstetrician says. Take the information and do what feels right for you. That is so important, not just in pregnancy, but in every area of your life. Take the information, absorb it, and do what feels true and right for you, okay?
I think the coolest thing over these past few weeks has definitely been the amount of, well, kicking or whatever you want to call it, but headbutting, punching. But little baby has been pretty active.
It's so fun. So on week 21 was the first time Nick felt the kicks, the punches, the headbutts, whatever they are. And it was amazing. It was so beautiful. We laid there for ages with both of our hands on my belly, just in silence and in awe of the magic that is happening inside. It was so beautiful, and every time I feel my kicks each day now, I just get so excited.
And the baby is definitely on a schedule, because twice a day it wakes up and goes kind of ballistic for a while, and it's just amazing to watch. Even last night we were watching, Melissa was in bed reading, we had our little 0 blue light reading lights, and it was putting this soft orange glow across Melissa's belly, and I could just see this like ding, ding. It's just wild that there's a baby in there. Like, there's a human growing inside her. Can we just appreciate what a miracle that is?
It is such a miracle. It's so beautiful, and every day I'm just in awe of the body. It's such a miracle. It's so much fun. I am loving the entire process. It's been awesome.
Actually, one cool thing, which I don't think you were going to talk about, but I just remembered, is we recently went on a camping trip with all of our besties, and we did a beautiful ceremony to welcome the consciousness of the child. So this is really interesting, because in Vedic philosophy, they believe the consciousness enters the body of the baby at 20 weeks, and 20 weeks just happened to be my birthday. So consciousness, soul, came in supposedly on my birthday, which was really cool.
So awesome. So our beautiful friends did a gorgeous ceremony for us where we did a Vedic chant, and it went for about 11 minutes.
Had a special candle.
We had a special beeswax candle. Everyone was holding hands in a circle.
It's amazing.
It was such a we're all sitting on the beach, all in white, holding hands with this candle, with this chant blaring, and all of us singing. It was so, so, so beautiful. And that was initiated by one of our best friends, Nat, which we're so grateful. It was such a beautiful experience to do and to hold space for. The next thing I want to chat to everyone about is the course we just did. So over the weekend, we did the She Births course, which I'll link to below. And basically, it's a 2-day weekend workshop. It's kind of like spiritual, conscious parenting school.
It's totally practical as well.
Yeah.
So literally, I think it's definitely aimed at the mums for sure. There's some amazing information in there. Even some interesting things we learned about diet. For example, for a woman who eats a diet high in sugar or gluten or wheat, and just basically too much refined foods, they get edema in the cervix, around the cervix, which is water retention. So they get swelling, and it means it's quite painful and sensitive down there. So when it comes time to birthing, if you've got swelling, guess what happens to the cervix that's trying to open? It's harder.
And she was also saying because of that edema, that inflammation, a lot of the celiac mums who are on a gluten-free diet, obviously.
And also watching the rest of their diet as well. Sugar and all those things tend to come out when you're celiac because you really have to be careful of that condition, right?
She was saying that those women who remove those things from their diet usually on average have around 4-hour births, which is amazing.
Crazy.
So, she was saying cut out gluten, cut out sugar, but the whole course was incredible. It was just everything you need to know about birth, about the different stages of labor, about post-birth breastfeeding. But some of the incredible things that we hadn't done before, because we have read a lot. We've read lots of books, we've listened to lots of podcasts, we've watched lots of documentaries. So we're quite knowledged up in that area. But a couple of the things that you really loved, and you can share your perspective too, and that we got to do together that we hadn't done, was things like the massage, the yoga poses, the acupressure points, Rebozo, which was awesome. What else? What else did you love about the course? What were your biggest takeaways?
Honestly, I think, as I said, I think it's great for the woman, but for the partner, whether it's female or male, that as a resource is incredible. I don't even know how you together would go through the birthing process without this information. Like, it's literally that important.
It's so important.
And so for me, it's about being really present and a part of the process, not just this bystander who's got midwives or doulas doing it for him, but the main person, the main support person in the whole birth process is in fact the partner and me. And it's my role to get her from beginning of contractions all the way through to birthing the baby, hopefully without anyone doing anything, it just being the two of us, right? Of course, we'd have midwives in the room, but they don't necessarily have to do anything. And I now feel totally empowered to play that role. And so I think for anyone wanting to get pregnant, who is pregnant, I think anyone can go and do this course. It literally is so, so interesting. But the acupressure is amazing. I think the rebozo is amazing, making sure it's this Mexican technique of using this giant sort of scarf to move the body in certain ways to position it so the baby ends up in the optimal LOA, it's called, position, where it's head down, bum against the wall, isn't it? And that's where you want the baby to be, right? And you can do all these things. We're starting now. So this is from 21 weeks. We're starting to do rebozo, daily practice.
22 weeks.
22 today, actually. So that was really interesting, and I'm just really excited now to actually be a part of it and to be able to look Melissa in the eyes through the whole process, and she just knows I've got her. And one of the things I asked Melissa to do was to write down some of the things she wants to hear from me.
Like the affirmations or the statements, which I was going to do anyway. So I'm going to create, obviously, my birth plan. I'm going to create a thing, like a list of tools for Nick, massage, shower, acupressure. And then also on that list, I'm going to have the affirmations or the statements that I want him to be whispering in my ear throughout the process.
But also I think one thing that's really important during labour is not to ask questions, because when you...
So explain what that means. So you ask me questions. So you don't ask the labouring woman questions, because that takes her out of her body and into the frontal cortex. And so then when she's there, that's when she's back out here in the world and not in, because in Vedic tradition, they say that birth, labor, is like the biggest meditation of your life. It's the equivalent of 10 years of meditating in a cave, which is such a profound experience that we get to experience.
Because you get such a big upgrade.
You get such a big upgrade. Like, it's a spiritual upgrade.
It's an awakening. Really.
It is a full-on awakening. It is a conscious upgrade, and it's so exciting. So it's very important that the midwives and your partner don't ask you questions. So instead of saying, would you like something to drink?
You just offer them food.
Just put it in there.
Offer them drinks. And you just like keeping them hydrated, keeping them fed. You don't say, hey, would you like a bliss ball or a date? You don't. You don't say that. So,
just shove it in their mouth.
So, I mean, look, She Births are run by a friend of ours. Amazing. Like, really, do it. If you're pregnant, do it.
And I just wanted to say, it's an in-person course, but you can also do it online.
Of course, yes.
Which is amazing. And we'll link to it below if you want to check it out. Nadine Richardson, who is our friend who created it, also has an incredible podcast, and we'll link to She Births below, so you guys can check it out.
So that is us for up to week 21. So we are literally currently 22 right now. But we've now covered 21 weeks. We're over halfway, which is super exciting.
It's amazing.
And we're just really excited about it and more empowered, which I think is really important. You know, whatever you choose, hospital, birthing center, home birth, totally up to you, but go in fully empowered with a partner who's empowered. And it's going to be a different experience. Full stop. So what do you reckon? High five? Oh my God, we're so amazing. See you soon.
Thank you guys. We love you.